we are going to grade the 2020 NBA draft class 5 years later. We're going to go through the top 30 picks, and we're going to grade what they've done so far, how good the pick has been. And we're going to do this really because Anthony Edwards and Tyrese Halliburton are on top of the goddamn world. So we're going to take a lay of the land and grade every single pick in the top 30.
Okay, let's do it.
So, starting up top, we got Anthony Edwards.
A+.
A++. This is the right pick. I think during this time, he was always the consensus number one overall pick. Sheer scoring power. Around when he was in UGA, he was drawing a lot of comparisons to Victor Oladipo. Obviously, like, he's blown past by that. He's been getting comparisons to Dwayne Wade as well. Obviously, he's still building towards that. He was the right pick, culture shifter. He's the all-time leading scorer, playoff scorer for the Minnesota Timberwolves now. Just realize that.
Yeah, that might be a little bit more about the history of the Timberwolves than him. But yeah, obvious A+. He's gotten everything that you want from a number one pick, Anthony Edwards, to check those boxes. They have zero reason to feel any type of regret about anybody that comes after this, including Tyrese Halliburton.
I agree.
Number 2 overall, James Wiseman.
This set their organization back by like 10 years.
God, this is the worst pick of like the modern NBA just because of everything that was at stake here. What could have been the second wave to a dynasty that could have been created with this pick if they had taken one of the better players in this draft. This is one of the most consequential draft misses of all time.
Yeah, and it sucks because you can see where they're coming from. The one thing that the Warriors never had was some like actually wildly talented, athletic, 7-foot center to play alongside Draymond. And if you had that with Steph Curry, with Clay, with Draymond, you're like, oh, we're gonna be here.
Yeah.
And so you see what they were cooking.
That logic made sense. But a lot of people who knew what they were talking about, even at the time, said James Wiseman is not who you think he is. He is not going to be able to play in that scheme. And they were right. This was an F in the moment. People were confused. People that knew what they were talking about, and it's an F in hindsight.
It was a moronic pick. Even back then, when James Wiseman was at the peak of his powers playing AAU ball, he was one of those players where like he is just so vastly. He has an insane advantage athleticism wise and also like size wise against everyone else. And the second that he goes to college, he went to Memphis. He had an okay year, but he didn't play out the full year. And he didn't really like shore up on the things that people had questions about him, whether it be the finishing, whether it be the defense, I don't want to say IQ, but the awareness on the court. It just nothing was there. He just had raw potential and size.
Yeah. Number 3, LaMelo Ball.
Honestly, I'm still giving this an A for them.
Yeah.
I think
you said they should trade him this summer, and you want to give it an A. You can't say it's an A if you are advocating for them to trade the player 5 years later.
I think they should.
First of all, I can do whatever I want. that's one.
Yeah. Let's make that clear.
No, but I mean, he's made an all-star team. As soon as he got there, they made the play in 2 years in a row. Granted, they got wiped out in them, but post Kemba, these last 5 years, especially those first 2 years, have been some of the better years in terms of like hope-filled years that they've had. I think that they also have a star that people can gravitate to, at least in your fan base. So you at least have that going for you. It's not like he's not Anthony Edwards. If that's the bar that we're comparing it to, then yes, it's probably like a B+. But in a vacuum, I do think that like that was the right pick for them to make.
I believe he won Rookie of the Year as well. I think this was the right pick. Looking back, I obviously would have them change their pick, but it's not necessarily wrong. I still give this an A. Coming out of Lithuania, his biggest questions were his shot and finishing ability and all that, which some things are still into question, but already made an all-star team. He is the face of that franchise, one of the most popular players in the league. The question is just health, and that's it. And for that, I still give them an A.
I think if you could say they should change their pick, I'm not going to give an A, so I'll give them B+. Obviously, like, it's not a bad pick at all, but if we're grading it 5 years later, we have to gauge, I think the point of the exercise is how the pick is aged, what they've done in that time, and like kind of gauge their start of their career. I feel like B+ is fine. We know Tyrese Halliburton has been better. We know Anthony Edwards has been better. Yeah. So,
but the script could
it's crazy hindsight to say they should have picked Tyrese. Tyrese went way lower. So it wasn't the wrong pick, but it hasn't gone as perfect as it could. B+ was fair.
And it's just like simply like health reasons and also like front office issues that they've had.
I wouldn't say it's simply that. There's also some flaws in LaMelo Ball that hasn't necessarily gone better. So it's not entirely that, but it is a lot of that.
Yeah, it's mostly that. So that's why I'm like, I'm not looking at the pick saying, oh, you fucked up big time. Not at all.
Yeah, that's why I said B+. No one's saying they fucked up big time.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, who did fuck up big time? Patrick Williams at number 4. How we grade this for the Bulls?
I'm giving that a D.
F. This is an F for sure.
Dude, the Chicago Bulls thought they were way ahead of their time drafting him. He wasn't even mocked around this range at all. He flew up coming out of FSU because he was this big, rangy wing. Everyone thought, oh my God, he has a little bit pop to his game. His nickname was Paw at the time. Oh my God, he's the next Kawhi Leonard. Holy fucking F.
Dude, they talked to Tyrese Haliburton pre-draft. They didn't pick him.
Yeah.
There was rumors they would be talking to Tyrese Haliburton and potentially doing that. They went with Patrick Williams. This is an F tier. This is where the start of the Tyrese Haliburton head scratches come from. This is where you can start really regretting your decisions. Number 5, Alex Okoro. Number 5, Isaac Okoro. I think we're in it just a C. So it's a solid role player who's been pretty good for you. Didn't quite take a big jump. Hasn't been one of the core parts of your team, but it hasn't been a bad pick. That feels very C to me.
No, it just.
I think
if you have the 5th overall pick in the draft, you would want it to be a little bit better, but
that's why it's a C. Yeah, he's playable.
I give this a D because as each and every year goes on, it can't be a C because you're constantly getting demoted, bro. Like they're finding replacements because of you and your lack of a jump shot and your ability to hinder the team in a playoff landscape. Like you don't deserve to be a C.
Okay, D's fine. Onyeka Okongwu. Now that's a C. That's a player who is at all the potential in the world, hasn't quite taken the role. First, it was because he wasn't quite ready. Now he got it, and he had a good year that we're starting to see progress. Mm-hmm. But I think, we can say C+, because we're starting to see progress now last year. C+ was very fair to me.
Yeah, C+ makes sense. He's gotten better every year, but not better in the ways that this team is needed to maximize the talent that's on our roster, you know?
You would have wanted him to steal the starting job like 2 years ago if he was living up to the potential.
Yeah, exactly. And I love the thing that he's been doing. He's developed so much late into this past year. I'm okay with C+. Could end up being a B, but it's a slow burner, and that's not what this team needs.
Exactly. It's a C+, but the story isn't written yet, whereas some of these, the story is written.
Yeah.
So Onyeka can still get up higher. This time next year, it could look better. Killian Hayes, F.
Fast as fuck. Let's move on.
All I think about every time I see Killian Hayes is I remember Kevin O'Connor saying he's the best player in this draft and being the Killian Hayes guy. So I always associate Killian Hayes with Kevin O'Connor.
Not gonna lie, I was a Killian Hayes guy too as well back in the day.
A lot of people were. Yeah, I saw the potential. I understood it. You know, French James Harden, lefty, didn't work out that way.
This is where that head scratching comes in. It's like you could have had Tyrese.
You could have had Tyrese.
Me personally, back in the day, I was comparing him to Drew Holiday, bro. I called him a lefty Drew Holiday. Defense is there.
You know who else could have had Tyrese? Obi Toppin at number 8, the New York Knicks. Drafted a older win-now rookie who was ready to contribute, and then they proceeded to let him walk like 3 years later because he did not contribute for them. Yeah, because they did not give him the chance and then let him walk. So the pick wasn't bad. The pick wasn't bad. The handling of the pick was moronic. What do we do with that?
I give this a D because if you wanted to sign Julius Randle the entire time in the offseason, why go ahead and force the hand and draft someone like Obi Toppin?
Yeah, it was a bad. Obi Toppin as a player gets like a B-. He's been a good role player. The New York Knicks picking him number 8 was stupid, all things considered. So I'll give that a D.
Yeah, I agree.
And for gauging how the 5 years went for the New York Knicks, he's on another team now. And I think didn't he walk in free agency? It wasn't even a trade.
I think I don't know.
Or was it a trade? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was a trade.
I don't know if it was a trade.
I don't remember at all, actually. That was a blank. Either way, the handling went horribly.
Speaking about handling horribly, bro, the goddamn Washington Wizards and how fast they gave up Denny Avdija.
Well, they traded him for a future first. Actually, no, for a first in last year's draft, right? Is that what became...
Was it Keyshawn George or no?
Yeah, was it Keyshawn George or was it the Bud pick?
I don't know. One of those picks.
One of those they got from trading Denny. The pick was... He really took a leap at the end of the last year with the Wizards and then this year with the Trailblazers. Mm-hmm. So he's a really good player. At the number 9 pick, that's a solid A-, B+.
That's an A+ pick if you ask me. Because in my mind back then, everyone knew that he was a great athlete, had passing chops. It wasn't there yet. But what really was glaring was that he was so big and he had a great ability to get downhill and use straight force while also being able to do the little things outside of just simply putting the ball in the basket.
Yeah, just getting good players in the building. I'm gonna give you
it's A.
Yeah.
Okay, they sold high, so they got value out of it. At least it's an A.
Yeah.
Jaylen Smith number 10, F tier, clear. That was that's largely important, hugely important pick for where they were, and it was terrible.
That might be the worst pick on this board.
Shout out to Sticks, man.
And that one straight up should have been Tyrese Haliburton, or even Devin Vassell would have been fine. F. We can start speeding threes now. That's an F tier.
Yeah.
Vassell.
I'll go B.
B, yeah. He's not that great. He's never taken a leap to being like a star. But at the number 11 pick, you can't have that type of expectation. He's been a good player. He'll be a good player for a long time.
They gave him a bag. And at the minimum at this point, he's gonna be a trade piece to go get him somebody else. So
Yeah.
he's good enough. So
it's average value for the 11th pick.
Yeah.
So B-, I'll say.
Yeah, he was at FSU as well, and he was a super long, rangy prospect. I understand it. He is the typical Spurs pick back then. The jump shot has been up and down. It's been more up in the middle of his career, but it's not a bad pick. It's not a bad pick.
Tyrese Halliburton, number 12. A++. Obviously, the steal of the draft. One of the bigger draft steals in a long time. Finding a top 12 player in the NBA as a number 12 pick. Outrageous value. Damn shame the Kings had absolutely nothing with it. Traded him for DeMontis Sabonis. Made one of the most boneheaded trades in a long time. That people convince themselves to win now.
Win-win.
That was a win-win.
Win-win.
It was not bad trade. They fumbled. But A+ draft pick. Good job, Kings. You identified the right talent.
Yeah, you just gotta handle the draft pick much better. It's awful.
I agree.
All right, Pete, the Sacramento Kings feature. 13, Kira Lewis Jr.
F. Holy fuck, bro.
Damn.
I understand the logic. You know,
He does not like him.
I liked him coming out of Alabama. Nice, speedy guard. You know, he had a great handle. They were in need of that because, you know, I think they were just freshly getting off of Lonzo. Yeah, they just freshly got off of Lonzo Ball through the AD trade, and they're now looking for their next Drew Holiday replacement, trying to build up a core. He did absolutely nothing, and he's currently in the G League or D League. Not G League.
Damn.
So no.
Aaron Nesmith at 14. So Aaron Nesmith is obviously an amazing player. He didn't. The Celtics drafted him and didn't fucking use him, and then traded him as a throw-in in a Malcolm Brogdon trade. So how do we gauge that? Is it a good pick?
I think it's a fantastic pick because coming out of college again, he was sniper from hell. He just didn't get much opportunity because of health issues. I give this they had a vision.
I'm going B just because you were able to get a solid player that then turned into Brogdon, that then turned into other stuff. So listen, you didn't use them, but also this is the 2020 Celtics where yes, they are kind of like rebuilding, but they were also in win now. Like 14 is.
Was Gordon Hayward still here? No.
20 no.
Okay, no, I'll give this an A. They identified the right player. Yeah. Again, they fumbled the post pick process. But they identified the right guy, and they got value for him at least. It turned into other stuff that got them to a championship eventually. We'll give it an A.
Yeah.
Cole Anthony, C-. I
mean, he's still like on the team, and listen, they have been looking for a point guard for the longest, and out of all the shots that they have taken, Cole Anthony's the only one that like continues to get any type of.
Cole Anthony won me a fantasy basketball championship when he went crazy at the end of 2021. It might have been the end of 20. It was before they got Paolo. They got Paolo in 2022?
Yeah, Paolo's 2022.
End of 2021, Cole Anthony had a crazy stretch to close the year when they were tanking. They tanked and got Paolo, and he won me a fantasy basketball championship because I picked him up off waivers. A+. Thank you, Cole Anthony, for everything you've done for me in my life. You won me a couple $100.
And for being real, this is like a C or D.
Isaiah Stewart, drafted by the Trailblazers, but traded on draft night to the Detroit Pistons.
Tough.
For 16th pick, he's a great role player.
He's a perfect
still
pick.
Contributing. That's an A-. That's a steal at number 16.
Yeah, he's grown defensively. I know when you think of Isaiah Stewart, you just think of like fist and all that and just straight up anger and aggression. But he's actually a valuable player on the basketball court.
Yeah, no, he's good. At many top points in the past couple of years, he's been a better defender than Jalen Duren and given them really, really great minutes off the bench. He's a big part of their culture shift, bringing back the bad boy vibes.
Yeah.
That's a solid A-.
I agree.
17, Alexei Pokashevsky. Poku. You know what? On the surface, this is an F. He's not good. He's not in the league. But he played a extremely important role in tanking for Chet Holmgren and successfully got them to the point where they're now in the NBA Finals. And by the time you watch this, they might win an NBA championship built off the blood, sweat, and tears of Alex Pokashevsky.
Poku died for this, is what you're telling me.
Poku,
and if you're looking at it through that lens, A+ pick.
The fruit that Poku bore.
The Paycom Center, that's the house that Poku built.
F, but A in our hearts.
Yeah.
Josh Green to the Mavericks. Solid player that they've didn't care that much about long term, but he gave him some good production.
Yeah, he's a solid role player who can give you like 15, 20 minutes a night. Can't hit on Josh Green's game.
Yeah, solid B. Just a very, very solid rotational player. And for the 18th pick, that's what you should be looking for. Sadiq Bey at 19. At one point, it looked like it was a hit, and then he fizzled out really fast. Ended up on the Hawks, ended up on a couple other teams.
Tore his ACL, ended up on the goddamn Washington Wizards now, I think. And no one's talking about him now.
D.
He did have like the most random 50-point game in the NBA.
He did. Shout out March basketball.
He did like back in the year 2020 to 2021. He was like the fastest rookie to hit like whatever amount of 3-pointers at the time. Skill ability, just like super unfortunate career. D for sure.
All right.
Precious Achiuwa, drafted by the Miami Heat. I think was it draft night he got traded to the Raptors, or was that later?
I think it was later.
Yeah, you're right. No, he started on the Heat. Yeah. Wow, what a wild ride for Precious Achiuwa. I can't remember what year he played for which team as a rookie.
Yeah.
Played for them, played for the Heat. Now he's on the Knicks. Being the most important thing about Precious Achiuwa right now is he's a player that fans point to and say, we could try playing him. That's a curveball we can throw with him. He's always that guy in the back pocket that, let's give him a new look.
Rick Carlisle has been trying to reverse psychology, you know, playing Precious. But I mean, he's a solid player. And I think like just for that same reason of like, hey, maybe we could try Precious tonight. Like,
did he get traded for Kyle Lowry? Is that how he got to the Raptors?
I think it was a part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
No, Kyle Lowry signed there. I think Kyle Lowry got a fat ass.
But was it like
was it a signing trade? I don't know.
I can't.
Yeah. Regardless of the fact, this is not a good pick.
Either way we slice it, this is a D.
Yeah.
Again, another steal of the draft. Tyrese Maxey, number 21.
A+,
Clear
probably
A+.
the steal of the draft, considering like where you're drafting. I'm going A+.
And considering how much it did for the franchise. If this team didn't draft Tyrese Maxey here after Ben Simmons flamed out with the team,
Hellhole.
I don't know if Joel Embiid would have stayed there quite as long as he did if they didn't get this all-star injected in the 21 pick.
Yeah, I feel like every draft expert back in the day could have predicted this because he is the common Kentucky guard who's overlooked because of whatever like skill that's lacking at that time, whether it be his passing or defense. Hey, man.
Size.
Yeah, size too as well. Like, hey man, he answered all those damn questions and he made an all-star team also.
A lot of people predicted he'd be good. Not everybody predicted he'd be an all-star. If that was the case, he would have went top 5. So like, yes, he checks the boxes of fast, small Kentucky guard that is usually good, but he really, really exploded through all the expectations.
Yeah.
22, Zeke Naji. They decided to draft him. He barely played, and then they gave him a 3-year extension that is now absolute dead money. And I remember when this was reported about his extension a few years ago, Woj reported it by saying, another successful development story for the Denver Nuggets. When there was no successful development in play, they just gave him money to do it.
This pick led to the firing of the GM and the head coach of the Denver Nuggets going into the playoffs. I'm giving it an F.
If they didn't pay him, they probably could have kept KCP. This is a disastrous pick, all things considered. And the butterfly effect that led down from picking Zeke Naji, F-.
He's brought nothing but negativity to this franchise.
Sorry, Zeke. Leandro Balmoro.
Who?
I actually do not remember what happened with his career.
He, on draft night, went to Minnesota.
Oh, yeah, he is a Minnesota pick.
Yeah. I cannot remember what happened to him.
Yeah, F.
And for that reason, it's
zero impact in the NBA.
Maybe it's a lack of ball knowledge. I simply do not remember, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
RJ Hampton.
Holy F.
Another F. Another guy just didn't quite find a way to stick in the league. Had some moments, some athleticism on some tanking teams.
Yeah.
Didn't stick anywhere.
He was one of them AAU demons alongside like Jalen Green.
AAU demons.
Like,
charged.
Hyper athletic.
They don't play the game the right way.
Cool ass mixtape.
Flashy.
Yeah, nah. He's just
typical
F. Resounding F.
Emanuel Quickley at number 25.
Listen, I still miss Emanuel Quickley.
Traded to the New York Knicks.
It's an A. It's an A in my heart, but overall, it's actually like it's probably like B+ though. Like he was good. He was never the true point guard of the future that like Knicks fans were like trying to
He got you OG. So
exactly the handling of the pick A+.
Oh, they sold at peak value.
I am so happy.
Sell high.
But he was great though. He also was never able to like fully be point guard 1 because as he was rising, then Brunson came in and so he started playing backup. So yeah. I'll go B+.
Yeah, solid B+. If you're not going to be a star at this point, you can't get an A. But for 25th pick, the value is great. 26, Peyton Pritchard.
I'm going A.
This is a slow burn. For a while, he wasn't doing much, but now at this point, he's elevated to being one of the best shooters in the NBA, the best 6th man in the NBA, one of the best backup point guards in the NBA. Like, this is an incredible value now, this many years later. And he's cheap as hell because they didn't use him for a few years, so he couldn't earn a lot of money. So they got him on an extension for pennies. What a great handling of a pick now, I'm saying out loud.
This is the first special teams player in NBA history. Like, he's awesome.
Yep.
All those half-court shots that he hit last year, bro, earned him a great reputation and gave him the runway of it's going to be limitless opportunity next year because Jason Tatum is out. So A+ pick, one of the best picks.
True. Fan favorite too?
2 years ago, if you asked me who's a better pick, Emanuel Quickley or Peyton Pritchard, it would not have been a conversation. But now I think Peyton Pritchard is the better player.
Yeah, exactly.
How crazy things change.
Wow.
Azubuike.
Oh man, F next.
Forgotten pick. Jaden McDaniels, number 28, drafted by the Lakers on draft night, but traded to the Timberwolves.
Such an important pick for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I forgot
man.
he went 28, A++. One of the best role players in the NBA. Outrageous value. That's an amazing trade. I don't remember what they traded up to get him, but it probably wasn't a ton. That is a fantastic pick.
I agree. This is one of those picks that you don't sit down and think about it. It didn't save the organization, but it saved them from a lot of mishaps happening going forward, and helped fill in so many gaps for this team.
And to get him and Anthony Edwards at the same time, it's like you get Ant's keeper, you get his perfect defender to come help him out. Like, what a perfect duo to get him once.
Yeah.
Number 29, Malachi Flynn to the Toronto Raptors.
This is the most random 50-point game in NBA history.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, it happened to me too. Damn, the Hawks. I remember that.
Yeah, you took the Malachi Hammer.
F.
D. He had a couple moments. He had some time. Yeah. Again, was part of their tanking endeavors to get Scotty Barnes.
Yeah, he was definitely one of those flyer picks. Like, hey, man, undersized guard, but the bag work is fucking crazy. I understand it.
Yeah.
Ended up being an F, though. No need to say much.
And last but not least, not an F, Desmond Bane, at number 30, drafted by the Celtics, but traded to the Memphis Grizzlies, another steal of the draft.
At 30, again, the further and further you go down, it just gets a better steal and a better steal.
Yep.
So it's either between him or Tyrese Maxey as the best steal in the draft. It's an A.
The reason why he fell so low is because he was an older rookie at that point in time.
And he got little
and
arms.
also, the arms as well scared a lot of fucking teams, and they didn't know how that would protect as a defender and all that. But hey, he's a fringe all-star, potential all-star, all the words like that.
Can you combine those for me real quick?
He's a fringe, low-key, borderline all-star potential player.
Yep.
And he is one of the guys, again, who's very much helped bring up this Memphis Grizzlies culture that's, I guess, no longer a culture anymore. But important pick for sure.
No, he's great. Obviously, number 30 pick. They're not often this good as a player who can average over 20 points per game consistently. Clear A+.
Yeah.
There's a lot of steals in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
Low key, not even low key. This is a good draft.
It's a great draft, and it's a shame the Warriors got exactly 0 of these good players.
You had 3 All-Stars, 4 All-Stars actually.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's damn near better than average, bro. And then
And a lot of good role players.
Yeah, this is a very quality draft. I like
Yeah,
this.
and for the fact that this was also the COVID draft and teams couldn't actually work out with players, and it was just a different setup that you normally have. Shout out to these teams.
Shout out these teams.